Hello, children. It is I, your father, Zeus. I don't know where I'm going with this. I swear to God, these intros are slowly but surely rotting my brain. Today we're actually doing one of your picks, and it was suggested on the previous video. The Sicarus Prime. This is a very simple weapon, so I, as a simple man, should enjoy it very much. It is a Master Rank 14 secondary burst pistol that does primarily impact damage, but it still has a decent chunk of puncture and slash, and it fires a 3-round burst with a 25% crit chance, a 2x crit multiplier, and a 20% status chance. That's pretty much it. No fancy bells and whistles here. You point it at a thing, you pull the trigger, and the thing dies. Well, hopefully. Anyway, so let's give it a shot, shall we? This is a very simple weapon, a 3-round burst, high disposition, decent chunk of damage, so let's figure something out. Let us slap an adapter on there, and I think with this one we're actually gonna go with Deadhead for the extra headshot multiplier. And also the reduced recoil, that's gonna be nice as well. Let's get the galvanized trio on there, diffusion, crosshairs, and shot as well. While we're at it, let's slap on primed target cracker too. Lethal torrent should make this feel almost fully automatic because the base fire rate is quite high. I think we're gonna start off nice and simple with corrosive and cold. Now that I'm looking at it though, we have a dash in there, so we could go with primed convulsion. That would give us a pretty bad ratio of corrosive and cold, but let's try it for now. That is not correct at all. Not jolt, pistol pestilence, there. Sadly, deep freeze does have a deep polarity, so we're just going to use frostbite. I would ideally want to run deep freeze and not run primed convulsion, or just run jolt, I guess, for more status. We could do that. I'm actually going to bump it down to 100. Don't want to go too crazy right off the bat. Ramp up seems pretty good so far. The burst is nice and fast as well. That's nice. The one thing that's a bit bothersome is that you only have 8 shots in the mag, right? That's not the best. The damage is surprisingly high. Yeah, we can one-shot the lower level units, or the lower tier units rather. We can actually one-shot some of the gunners as well. Whoa, that's quite good actually. One thing you will notice though is we're not proccing an awful lot of cold. We're mostly proccing corrosive, which isn't the worst thing in the world, but I would like to proc some cold in there for more crit damage. One thing we could do actually, and let's do it right now, is we could shuffle the polarity over. We could move it by 1 like so. And then instead of running corrosive and cold, we can go corrosive and heat with primed heated charge. Corrosive jolt. Because that way we get a lot of extra base damage. Well, not base damage, we get a lot of extra elemental damage, which on a weapon that only does 50 base damage per shot is pretty impactful. The ramp up is still quite terrific. The magazine size and reload, not so much. So far my only real complaint is the mag size and the reload. That's like the one thing that icks me a little bit. Outside of that though, it's just a simple weapon with a simple setup that just works. I bet Ted Howard would really like this. I think we'll just stick to this. I don't think we need to do anything fancy. This is pretty good. So let's try it in a mission. Oh, I just realized I forgot about Harold. Oh well, we'll see how it goes. The reason I'm somewhat worried, by the way, about not having Harold is because this consumes 3 ammo per shot because of the burst, so we might have some issues. So far so good. This is one of the burst weapons that's actually better off being burst based, because every burst procs a ton of status. If this was a semi-auto weapon that fired 1 shot, you would get considerably less status. It's usually the case for weapons that lean more towards upfront damage setups rather than damage over time setups. Our ammo is going down a little bit, but I don't think it's anything too serious. I think this is actually pretty decent, even without the Incarnon adapter, which is just gonna make it better in every way, right? I think it's ricochet and a bunch of extra stats. It's gonna be pretty Sick-Arus. Now that's a title. Oh, that's a title, alright. Moment of truth. How good is the single target? Okay, that is impressively good. Yes, it would be a little bit better if we were running cold instead of the heat, because it would slow the acolyte down, but that is mighty fine. We are out of ammo, actually. Aha. Now, I don't think that's necessarily a problem with the weapon. As I've said at the beginning, we don't have Harold, so we don't have vacuum. My boy, how could I have forgotten about you? I am sorry. Little bit of corpus fun coming right. What do you mean 900 meters? I kind of expected more shield boys to spawn in, but no, apparently we're going for a jog first. Oh, finally, some dudes. What the? I can imagine this becomes quite good once you slap on the Incarnon adapter. Without it, it's just a solid pistol that like, I wouldn't mind using in a mission, but if you really want to use it, you want to go for the Incarnon adapter as well. The build will stay pretty much the same. I can't think of anything that I would want to change once you put on the Incarnon adapter. Just get more stats and ricochet, and yeah, that's just like, yeah, you can run the same build and it's gonna be fine, which is why I'm okay with doing the video pre-Incarnon rather than waiting for the adapter. So here's the final build for the Sicarus Prime, and this works for both the regular version of Sicarus Prime as well as the Incarnon version. The Incarnon version is of course going to be considerably stronger though. We have Galvanized Diffusion for multi-shot, Galvanized Crosshairs for crit chance, Prime Target Cracker for crit damage, Lethal Torrent for fire rate and multi-shot, Prime Heated Charge, Pistol Pestilence and Jolt for a nice combination of status, corrosive damage and heat damage, and we top it off with Galvanized Shot for status chance and condition overload. For the arcane, secondary Deadhead is going to be absolutely tremendous, especially if you choose one of the evolutions that gives you more crit chance on weak point hits. One thing I would highly recommend with a weapon like this, or in general, is you go into the accessibility options and you take the fire rate assist or fire assist or whatever it is, basically the option that allows you to automatically fire semi-automatic weapons by simply holding down the fire button. Otherwise, it's going to be very difficult to take full advantage of the Sicarus Prime's high fire rate. You would have to click very fast and at a certain tempo to really utilize it. Now, I specifically wanted to do this video before putting on the Incarnon adapter, so we would check the Sicarus Prime without its Incarnon Genesis. And I want you guys to let me know what you think about it. The idea here was that this way you can see whether the weapon is worth getting even if you don't have the adapter yet. You can watch the video and be like, okay, so I might want to use this even though I don't have the adapter yet, and maybe later, if I really end up liking it, I can get the adapter and upgrade it. I might actually do a follow-up video with the adapter later on, and if I do, I'm gonna link it somewhere in the description or in the comments, or maybe even both. But anyway, the Sicarus Prime is pretty good even without the Incarnon Genesis. It deals with all factions really well, it does solid damage, it feels good, and the build is pretty simple. There are no gimmicks here, it just works. So if you're interested in a nice, simple, straightforward burst fire pistol, I would highly recommend you give the Sicarus Prime a shot, and if you really end up liking it, you can eventually farm up the Incarnon adapter for it from the circuit in Duviri, which will make it really pop off. And as always guys, I thank you very much for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed the video. Then I would also like to extend a special thank you to all the channel members. Thank you very much guys, I really appreciate your support, it means a lot to me. And if you have any suggestions for the series, no matter how silly they are, usually the sillier the better, you can leave them in the comment section down below. And I'll see you next time. Bye bye.